What if I told you that one of the most powerful companies in human history makes most of its money without selling anything directly to you? No subscriptions, no mandatory fees, no pay-to-use barrier, and yet this company generates hundreds of billions of dollars every single year. Now think about your own life for a second. How many times today did you search something online? How many YouTube videos did you watch? Did you check your email? Did you open Maps to find a location? Chances are, you used Google multiple times without even thinking about it. And here's the strange part, you didn't pay for any of it. Not for search, not for Gmail, not for YouTube, not even for storing your files. So here's the real question that almost nobody asks. If you're not paying, then how is Google making so much money from you? Because make no mistake, you are generating value for Google. Every search you type, every video you watch, every click you make, it all feeds into a system that is far more sophisticated than most people realize. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Google is not just a search engine. It's not just a tech company. It's not even just a software platform. It's one of the most advanced money-making machines ever built. A system that quietly turns human curiosity into profit. A system that converts attention into billions. A system that operates in the background of your daily life without you ever noticing. And the craziest part, most people use it every day, but have absolutely no idea how it actually works. They think Google just exists to help them find information. They assume it makes money, the same way traditional companies do. They never stop to question the model behind it, but once you understand the business model of Google, everything changes. You start to see the internet differently. You start to understand why certain results show up first. You start to realize how your behavior is being shaped. And most importantly, you begin to see how modern wealth is really created in the digital age. So in this video, we're going to break it all down. Not in complicated business terms, not in confusing tech jargon, but in a simple, clear way that shows you exactly how Google turned free services into one of the most profitable empires in the world. Because once you see the system, you can't unsee it. Most people think they understand how Google makes money. They assume it's simple. Google is a search engine. People use it. The company somehow earns money from that usage. End of story. But that explanation is not just incomplete, it's completely misleading, because here's the truth. Google does not make money when you search something. Google does not make money when you open Gmail. Google does not make money when you watch videos on YouTube. In fact, every time you use these services, it actually costs Google money. Think about the scale for a second. Billions of searches every day, billions of videos stream at massive data centers running 24/7. Global infrastructure across continental of this requires enormous investment. We are talking about billions in operational costs every single year. So if users are not paying and services are expensive to run, where is the money coming from? This is where most people get it completely wrong. They assume Google is in the business of providing services. But that's not the real business. The reality is much deeper and a bit uncomfortable. Google is not primarily a service company, it is an advertising company. And more importantly, it is a company that has mastered how to capture and monetize human attention. Here's the misunderstanding. People believe they are Google's customers. They think Google is serving them. But in reality, users are only one part of the system. The actual customers are businesses. Companies pay Google billions of dollars, not because Google creates content, but because Google controls access to something incredibly valuable, your attention. And not just random attention, targeted attention, intent-driven attention, the kind of attention where someone is actively searching for something specific, like best phone under $500, or cheap flights to Dubai. That is the most valuable type of audience any business could ever ask for. And Google sits right in the middle of it. So the big misunderstanding is this. People think Google makes money from usage. But In reality, Google makes money from influence. It influences what you see, it influences what you click, it influences what you eventually buy, and most users never even notice it happening. They believe they are in control. But behind the scenes, there is a carefully designed system deciding which ads to show, which results to prioritize, and which businesses get visibility. Understanding this shift is critical because once you realize that Google's real product is not search, email, or video, but rather access to human behavior, you begin to see the entire internet in a completely different way. Now let's break down how Google actually makes money in the simplest way possible. No complicated jargon, just a clear system. At its core, Google's business model works like a machine with three powerful layers. Layer 1. Free products that attract billions. First, Google builds products that people love to use. Think about it. Google Search helps you find anything instantly. YouTube lets you watch unlimited content. Mail gives you free email. Google Maps helps you navigate the world. Android powers billions of smartphones. All of these services are free. And that's not an accident. The goal here is simple. Get as many users as possible. The more people use Google products, the more time they spend inside Google's ecosystem. And this creates something incredibly valuable: attention at a massive scale. Billions of users, billions of interactions every single day. Layer 2. Data collection, the real asset. Once users are inside the ecosystem, the next layer begins. Every action you take generates data. What you search, what videos you watch, where you go, how you click, how long you stay on something. Google collects and organizes this information to understand behavior patterns. Now here's an important clarification: Google does not simply sell your data like many people assume. Instead, it uses this data to build incredibly accurate user profiles. It understands interests, habits, and intentions. For example, if someone searches for best laptop for students, watches tech reviews, and visits product pages, Google knows this person is likely planning to buy a laptop. That insight is extremely valuable because it reveals intent, not just interest. Layer 3. Advertising engine, where the money comes from. This is where everything comes together. Businesses want customers. Google has billions of users and understands what they want. So Google connects businesses with users through ads. Here's how it works in practice. A company creates an ad campaign on Google. They choose keywords like buy shoes online. They set a budget and bid for visibility. When a user searches that keyword, Google runs an instant auction behind the scenes. The highest and most relevant advertiser wins the spot, and their ad appears right at the top of the search results. If the user clicks the ad, the business pays Google. This is called a pay-per-click model. Now imagine this happening billions of times every day. That's how companies like Alphabet Inc. generate massive revenue. Why this model is so powerful. The real strength of Google's system is precision. Traditional advertising is guesswork. Billboards, TV ads, newspapers. You show ads and hope the right people see them. But Google's advertising is different. It targets users based on real behavior and real intent. That means higher chances of conversion, better results for businesses, more money flowing into Google ecosystem. Advantage, the hidden layer. There's one more thing that makes Google unstoppable. Its ecosystem. Google doesn't rely on just one platform. It controls multiple entry points. Search, mobile operating systems, browser platforms. The more products you use, the more data Google gathers, and the more data it has, the better its advertising becomes. It's a loop. More users gives more data, gives better ads, gives more revenue, gives better products, gives more users, and the cycle keeps growing. Let's make this real so you can actually see how the system works in everyday life. Imagine this moment. You open Google and type something simple. Best smartphone under $300. You are not thinking about money models. You are not thinking about ads. You are just trying to find information. But the moment you hit search, something very powerful happens in the background. A split-second auction begins. Multiple companies are now competing for your attention. Phone brands, online stores, and retailers are all trying to appear at the top of your screen. They are willing to pay Google money just for the chance that you might click on them. Why? Because they know something important. If you are searching that phrase, you are not random traffic. You are a potential buyer, and that is exactly the kind of user they want. So Google shows a few results at the top marked as sponsored. You click one of them. You browse a product page. Maybe you compare prices. Maybe you don't buy immediately, but you come back later. Either way, that company has paid Google for your attention. Now multiply this single moment by millions of people doing the exact same thing every second of every day. That is where the money comes from. Now let's connect this to a real system. The parent company behind Google is Alphabet Inc., and a huge portion of its revenue comes from this exact process called search advertising. But it doesn't stop at search. Let's move to another example. You open YouTube to watch a video. Maybe it's a tutorial, entertainment, or news. Before the video starts, you see an ad. Sometimes you skip it. Sometimes you don single quotes t. Either way, the advertiser pays Google for showing it to you. Now here's the key detail most people miss. Even if you don't click the ad, Google still gets paid for showing it. Because attention itself is valuable. Local businesses paying to appear at the top of your search. Again, the same system is working everywhere. Different product, same model, and that is the real genius of Google. It does not depend on one income stream. It built multiple money channels using the same core idea, turned human intent into advertising value. So whether you are searching, watching, navigating, or reading, you are always inside the system, and businesses are always competing for your attention inside that system. That is how Google quietly turned everyday actions into one of the most powerful revenue engines in the world. Now that you've seen how the system works, let's step back and understand what this actually means, because the biggest lesson here is not just about Google. It's about how modern digital businesses work. The first key takeaway is this: free does not mean free. Think about it carefully. Google does not win because it has search. It wins because it has billions of people actively using its ecosystem every day. YouTube does not win because it hosts videos. It wins because it controls what people watch and for how long. Attention is the real currency of the internet, and whoever controls attention controls advertising power. The third lesson is about leverage. Google does not rely on direct sales or physical products. Instead, it builds systems that scale automatically. More users create more data. More data creates better targeting. Better targeting creates more ad revenue. More revenue improves services and infrastructure. This creates a self-reinforcing loop, a system that grows stronger the more people use it. That is why companies like Alphabet Inc. are so dominant. They are not just businesses, they are feedback loops powered by human behavior. And finally, the most important lesson: this is the blueprint of modern tech companies. Once you understand it, you start noticing it everywhere. Social media platforms, streaming services, even the apps you use every single day, they are all built around some version of the same idea. So if you want to keep learning how real money actually works behind companies, markets, and billion-dollar systems,